We'll see. Look at that.
Live?
It's live after just whatever updates, man.
That's cool.
Facebook has been freaking ridiculous. They update things, and now we're live though. So we're live on YouTube and Facebook, guys. As always, let us know how the audio and video is doing, and if you can hear it well. Looks like everything on my end looks great, but you're the end user, so let's make sure it's working. How we doing today, Coach? You doing fantastic?
Doing great. Doing great. What's going on?
Not much, man. So today we're talking about old age and jiu-jitsu. So it sounds like you're going to be doing most of the talking then.
Well,
it's a joke. It's a joke. What's
funny about it is what I want to know.
Well, it's funny because it's honestly, I would say year for year, I'm in worse shape at 35 than you probably were. I feel in worse shape. I don't know, unless you just ignored it. Like I feel when I say worse shape, I mean battered in the amount of like injuries and aches and pains that I feel at 35 than you did. So, but we got some great questions that we're going to get into, and there's a lot of them. So, if you're cool with it, can we get right into them?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, how has your body changed over the years and affected your training?
Let's see. Let me see if I can pull up an injury list.
Oh, do you have
No,
I was going to say, do you have an
don't.
actual injury list?
I don't, but I have some. I have some notes. Well, for the I think the average age of somebody starting Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, like it increases every year. Like if you separate the kids from like under 18 to over 18, I think that age numbers is going up. Like average age is like over 30.
People when they start?
When they first start, yeah.
Yeah, but you're backing out the kids.
Yeah, if you back out the kids.
I would agree. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, I would agree because, well, I think if you haven't started as a child, life catches up. Like it's easy to get thrown into adulthood pretty quickly. You know, either you're coming out of college, you got a real job, or maybe it's just you're biding some time until you get like your desired position or whatever, and then just life stages happen. You get a job, maybe you get a girl, you know, maybe you get married, maybe you don't, maybe just, but you know, you have a family, maybe you have kids, maybe you don't, and then it's tough to inject things into your schedule once you get in a flow. What I will say is, like, I'm thinking about if I were to take up a hobby right now, like, would you have time to add a quote unquote hobby that required 6 hours a week of you right now?
No way.
I think about that though. I mean, because you and I, like, it's jiu-jitsu is not a hobby to us, right? So it's very much like it's a necessity, right? But if I'm like, let's talk to our boy Chris who joined Westland. He's like a professional bowler, like or about to be. Like he's that good, and like knows all about the. And I'm just thinking like, that sounds. I would never do that. I would never do that. I'd like carve out 6 hours for something like bowling, and I wonder how many people align it with the same tier of thinking. You know what I'm saying? Like if jiu-jitsu is just a hobby, and so adulthood gets in the way. Adulthood gets in the way. But to your point, I do agree. People start older because there's this buffer of first adulthood. Oh, things have settled down. I'm good in my career. Blah 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 blah.
So. Yeah. I you know, in your 30s, like your body is that's your prime. Like your late 20s.
This is terrible news for me. This is awful. News. 30s is your prime, you think?
Well, I would say 20 to like early 30s. Like that's where you've peaked and you're just waiting to start to go, you know, down. So physically you can train more. You can recover from injuries faster. And you're starting to like take all the information from your training, your technique, and you really start to like mature mentally, psychologically, emotionally, and you're taking that all your life experience and compile them into starting. You're shifting his thinking at that age of like, I have to be more efficient.
I will say I noticed that when I was we had Coach Shablil and Fatis on the mat. Probably the first time I rolled them in a minute, and Fatis was trying to do his. He's kind of got a fast game a little bit. Like it's kind of a fast game, especially when he's going against. He's probably giving up 40, 50 pounds when he rolls with me. So
More.
yeah.
How much
What
do you weigh?
195 6 now? 196.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you were heavier.
No. Yeah. My beard adds about 7 pounds. 8 pounds.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah, I mean still like he's giving up 50 pounds and he's kind of a fast player. And I will just do a lot. Like I find myself just kind of his guard, for example, for his guard. Like I'll just post a knee as like a wedge. And I'm like, you figure it out, dude. Like you figure it out. Like I'm gonna wait for you to try and just work way around this, and I'm gonna capitalize on what you're doing. I am not gonna grind. This is one side of my brain. I'm not gonna grind and like try and do that relentlessly. But then if we're talking stand up, I wrestle like an idiot when I stand up because it's I just try things. I don't know if I got a takedown. Yeah, I did. I got when I went with I'm not gonna call him out, but I went with one guy last night and I did very well. But every other match I had with takedowns, like I was trying this new over under series and it's not going well, And so to your point, I want to move more efficiently on these younger guys.
I noticed that when we were training yesterday,
yeah,
or the day before,
yeah,
I noticed I'm like, whoa, Coach David is not getting like fidgety, like he's got to move and do something. I could like see him thinking,
yeah,
throughout and like exploring a little bit more. And when you're older and training, when you're over like 40 and 50 and you're training with younger people, like by the time something has happened, your mind can see it happen, can anticipate it happening, but the actual reaction is just a lot slower.
yeah.
It's a lot slower. And I could like when we were training the other day, I'm like, whoa, he's using his mind a lot more than he was before.
Yeah, well, I think it's just the timing because I can't rely on the timing. I'm working on just trying to get my knees back and functionally to where they don't feel weak and so I can't keep up with the timing, especially Fatis. Like the games that you guys play, you guys like De La Hiva and like that's
Single
just
X,
yeah, that's
X.
really tough on that's tough to that's like you're manipulating the knee in kind of a really strange and unathletic position for me. So I have to. I don't really want to get in there.
You know what I found in that position when I first ever was introduced to De La Hiva? The first thing that I said from that position is like, "Oh no, whatever this thing is."
I hate De La
Yeah,
Hiva.
when I first saw De La Hiva, I'm like, oh no. I just had, before I started jiu-jitsu, I had complete reconstructive surgery on my ACL, MCL, meniscus. It was like ripped like a piece of paper.
Yeah.
So I'm like, And then I started to like really become a student of what is your leg doing in that position? How is it extending, hyperextending? Are you vulnerable? And I obviously have longer legs, so that position is good for me. But I have found that if you play it correctly, it doesn't put your like knees and your legs at risk. And for me, I like to use that into two things. One is like leg entry, or use it to sweep and then get on top and start to pass.
Yeah, you guys like that De La Hiva. It just never. I don't know. it's just weird to me. Like it's weird, tough for me to get the angle and the hip angle. I am so what injuries took longer to recover from as you got older, and how did you adjust your training around that? And while you answer this question, I'm going to move this power source from center to left camera. So what injuries
Gotcha.
took longer to recover?
Well, there's been a lot of injuries. I will say that when you find a hobby that you enjoy, whatever it is, bowling, we were talking about, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, when you find a hobby that you enjoy, it's pretty common. You're doing repetitive movements and putting like stress and repeated repetitions on the joints, ligaments, and tendons. And along the way, you're gonna get lots of like little injuries. When I say little injuries, I mean maybe like tweaking a finger, spraining your finger, spraining your wrist, spraining your neck. You know, in the same way you might have slept on it wrong for a couple days. And so
Yeah,
those kind
the
of
way you sleep, even that, like even that, the way you sleep is matters. Like
yeah,
it matters,
it
which
really
is
does.
which is crazy.
And
Yeah.
then you know, and then as far as like little injuries that you have to go with, it might not seem, it might seem trivial the younger that you are, but if you're if you're putting your entire body to work in a sport, like protein matters. If you're putting your entire body to work, like
I need to do that, bro.
get
I need to get on more pro. How much protein do you eat a day?
um
How many grams do you aim for?
you know what? My number hasn't changed. My goal hasn't changed for the last probably 10 or 20 years. If you can have one protein shake a day consistently, that alone will completely change the way you feel, the way your body looks. So for me right now,
Just one?
yeah,
Like 50 gram, 40, 50 grams protein?
yeah.
I talk to dudes that I mean, the amount of protein they consume is like,
I'm talking about protein shake, not like my chicken, my steak. I'm not talking about foods like protein shake.
yeah. You're talking about like pot. Yeah.
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 But you know what? The your body just works so much better when you give it something to like address it working in overdrive.
Yeah, I should.
You know?
I need to do that, but that'll maybe because I'm pretty good. I usually get a shake in. Like I do the like I like I usually get a shake in. I'll throw in some oats and eggs
Yeah.
and protein and some not flaxseed. I'm not that old.
Flaxseed's good.
I know
Omega-3, anti-inflammatory.
what is the it's like little pebbles. I can't think of it
Oh,
right
chia
now.
seeds.
Chia seeds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chia seeds are.
Yeah.
I throw those in just as texture, which is good.
Yeah. So to answer your question is like the first place that we all need to start is incorporating, like you're doing this exercising and regardless of your ages, you need to like to supplement with like some water.
That was my next question. How does hydration play?
Oh my gosh, it dries up. It dries up everything on the inside, and it makes it like pretty much impossible for you to be, you know, to move, to recover, to transport vitamins, nutrients throughout your body. And you know, those play into like small, annoying little injuries, and they make them so much more available or prevalent when you're training over 40.
Would you say it's equivalent to if you're not hydrating well enough to running your vehicle out of oil?
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
That honestly, that alone could be. I mean, you see, just look at the two. Like here's what I'm drinking, and here's what Mo's drinking. Like just the two kind of comparisons. I need to. I just don't want to be water jug guy. You know what I mean? I did it for a while. Like I did it for because that's the best way. Like rather than carrying around.
Yeah.
You know, they say half gallon to a gallon a day. Like how many bottles is that? Like if you need 8 or 10 bottles or whatever, 16.
Yeah.
It's 128. So maybe 8 times 80. Yeah. So I just don't want to be water jug guy, but that is the easiest way to kind of drink it.
Well, look at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in the form of like during the middle of the summer, when athletes are training,
Yeah.
they tell them for every 30 minutes of exercise you're doing, they want you, or they intently take water breaks to say hydrate.
Yeah.
Like in the middle of the summer,
Yeah.
like they're really hyper vigilant about that. The Detroit Lions player, a couple NFL players have passed away probably over the last 3 to 5 years consistently. So in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, like you don't need the sun. Like you're sweating out so much and you have to put those liquids back inside your body. And like that's a good, easy time to make sure you're drinking during training. If you look at the professional Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu athletes, like many of them are not cutting because it's different than like MMA. Many of them are not cutting, but they always have water with them, and that's what they're drinking. They're not drinking like what.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy a water bottle on the way, like a big one. I'm gonna break down and try to commit to it because I did drink water for a while. I'm saying like I haven't drank it. Like it's flavorless, dude. It's just flavorless, you
Yeah.
know? Like I don't know. It's just like it's nothing. It's just like wet. Like I'm just wetting my whistle.
Yeah.
To use an old guy's term.
Well,
Like
you know,
I don't know.
amino acids are like basically like a Gatorade. I mean,
Yeah.
you've drinking those for a long
the
time.
amino acids I do like. Those are good. But they have dye in them. Like dude, those amino acids that I loved the what was it that I used to buy from you guys? What was it? Like it was
BCA.
yeah. Like that was great.
Yeah.
But it's got red and yellow dye in it. And it's like I find it hard to believe that it's necessary. You know, like that dye, like is that really necessary it can't be because they have dye-free stuff, you know. So
look, the question there is like I think some countries ban those dyes, right?
a lot of them ban dyes. A lot of them had like just all of it, the food in general, like there's ingredients in like a lot of the food that is prohibited, like even in Canada, like you know, the UK, it's just not allowed.
Wow, that's crazy.
But the dyes specifically are, I mean, that's an easy cutout. Like that's not, I'm not gonna, you know, that's an easy cutout. Like I'm not gonna go super crunchy and say I never like I try to avoid dyes, but then like I'll still eat, you know, junk food without dye in it. You know, like I'm not super clean like that.
And that's my point is it's like picking the lesser of two evils, having the dye and not having anything for recovery.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point. Yeah, that's it. That's valid.
Yeah, so
I know Jimmy was he likes Element. Is that Jocko's stuff, Element?
Not sure.
But we got into what's that what do we have in a vending machine? Liquid IV. That's good.
Yeah.
Liquid IV is good.
Yeah, so Liquid IV is a great product. I don't like it.
Why not?
I just don't like the way it tastes. So what I prefer to do is my wife was like, she was grossed out about what I did. What I'll do whenever it's available is I'll drink pickle juice.
To
hydrate my body.
I've heard you're not the first person I've heard talk about that.
Like I like pickles, and pickle juice hydrates the body. Coconut water hydrates the body.
Coconut water is good.
Yeah. So those for me are like
pickle juice.
Yeah, they balance out not getting enough water.
What's in the just the salt, like
salts,
vinegar, like
electrolytes?
No way.
Yeah, lots of salts, electrolytes.
Interesting.
So,
that's interesting.
Yeah, I love pickles, and my kids get to them before I do. So I'm like, my kids get to them before I do. So I drink pickle juice all the time. And just getting back to the injuries, if you're not drinking enough water, there's some ways to kind of balance out. I'm not drinking enough water throughout the day. If you can get a coconut water in, that for me personally, in my opinion, it brings it back to a level ground because you're getting really good electrolytes. You're not drinking enough water. Have some like the pickle juice. Those are two easy and very inexpensive things to include in your diet.
Leah says Liquid IV has additives. Oh no. What doesn't have it? Man, see, this is what it shouldn't be this difficult to like find. And I guess water, to your point, water's the easy one, right? Coconut water.
Yeah.
But like you shouldn't have to be this vigilant. Like you're like going through the grocery store to see who's trying to poison you. Like that really shouldn't have to. It should just be like I trust that whoever's selling me some shit is like it's not going to poison me and my children. Like
Leah, thank you for that.
So
for that snack bar. Her kids brought me a little protein bar, a really healthy protein bar.
Yeah. Leah, Leah's actually going to help me. Dude, can you grab me one of those flyers? Grab me that flyer. Leah, this is what I was telling you since I know she's watching. He's asking me, he's like, Coach, do you have, can I work for you? He asked me,
Who?
Silas. He's like, hey, can you, can I coach? Can you hire me? And I think he's a little young right now. He's like 10. Is he 10 or 11?
Is Silas that old?
He's a little young, right?
Yeah.
And I said, well, buddy, I can't have you coach I said, I will gladly hire you when the time comes. But these are what I'm talking about. Like we're sending out these flyers to Westland and the Canton area, and they need to be sorted and processed. And so all he has to do is help me kind of weigh them out. This is something that I will have, we'll hire him to do, and we're sending out 10,000 today, 10,000 Monday, 10,000 Tuesday, and then 30,000 4 weeks from now, between all the campus. So I'll have work for him. I like when kids come and ask for work like that, man.
That's love it.
Leah, Leah's,
I love it.
It's a great job. Yeah, it's a simple job, and it'd be good for him, and he can help us out with that. But I didn't know liquid IV had additives. That's disheartening to say the least.
Leah, tell Silas to be persistent and do not stop asking.
Yeah. Well, it's like, even in like, this is kind of off script a little bit, but the number, so it's kind of off script. So admittedly, things are tough for real estate agents right now. And you talk to them and they're like, the number one reason that you talk to a lot of these OGs, and they're like, you just got to learn to ask. Like if you ask for the sale, more people will give it to you than won't. And they're like, ask me how I know. They're like, whatever. An agent worked with this people for months or years, and then they went with someone else, and they're like, well, dude, seriously, why'd you go? Well, he just asked for the sale, and you did it. You did it. Like that's a lesson you only need to learn once, and people don't like to be pushy with it. But Silas was very, and when I see kids like that, Deion's watching too. What's up, Deion? When I see kids like that, I like to reward them. I like to hire. I wish kids would come knock on my door to shovel my driveway. I would pay them way too much money. Dude, my driveway is small. I would pay them $40 to shovel my driveway.
Really?
As a donation, sure. Why not? Like you're going out in the who does that? Like I would gladly welcome a kid with a shovel to shovel and salt the drive. I'd provide the shovel and salt. Like it doesn't even matter. I'd pay them way too much money.
See what happens if you knock on enough doors, you'll get somebody like him that's like, I'm too busy to do that.
Yeah. Or I just like to reward it, because you're rewarding that, and I know there were people who gave me a shot when I didn't maybe necessarily know what I was doing. I'm sure you're the same, that they saw you just starting out and on that. But we'll tie it back to, I'm going to go to the next question. We got off topic of injuries. Do you think your mindset towards training and competition has changed with age? How so? And if Deion's watching, I'm sure he would have great insight on this as well. Because you guys are contemporaries, right? You and Deion, you got to be within a couple of years, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think he's got me by like 2 years.
Have you ever matched each other in tournaments?
In tournaments, no, but I've trained with him.
Wow, how'd you guys make it a song? Because you're like similar. Well, he's a lot heavier than you though, isn't he? Because he's tall.
Yeah, I don't know what he weighs. Deion, what do you weigh?
I think he's like 210.
210,
but he's tall.
Yeah,
he's tall. Like that's why you say, "Oh, I look heavier." Well, we're spread out like a weird like primate. Like it's just everyone, it's just kind of stretched out further, so it doesn't look as yoked as like a 5'10" dude.
Yeah, we're both guard players, so like in a tournament setting, that would be
who gets guard first.
Yeah,
he's got strong legs too. I watched his.
He's an ex-basketball player. He's a you know, he still trains, competes. He's very, very, his body's built for jiu-jitsu,
His
and he's
yeah,
kept in
he
good
really
shape.
has, and he's got I saw him. I think it was grappling the temple and against Maloney, and Maloney's not. He's not a slouch, dude.
Maloney's like
Maloney's like a pit bull,
a tree
dude.
stump. Yeah.
And he flower swept Maloney.
Guy with a
It
really
was
good,
textbook. Like
really good base.
I haven't seen a flower sweep like that in a minute. Like I was like, man, that's
Long
old
legs,
school.
long
Yeah,
center of gravity.
timed well. He's 210.
210.
He's 210. Yeah. So yeah, I mean you're different. What was one weight bracket difference?
No, I'm about 210 right now.
All right. What?
Yeah. Oh, you think I look heavier?
I know. I thought we were the same weight.
How much?
I thought you and I weighed the same.
Oh, no. Like, ideally, I like to be at the 195 IBJJF, but I haven't weighed myself in a minute, but I'm about, like, I'm definitely over 200.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, how has age affected your mindset competing?
You know, for competing for me, it was just about winning.
Yeah.
Like, from day one. That's really all it was about.
Is that still what it's about?
Yes. Yes, it is. But the last tournament at my black belt debut that I went in, I changed for the first time and said, you know what? I want to go in and try a specific guard because I have confidence that my guard can't be passed. So things have changed in that, like, when you're teaching so much, you're trying to teach so many different things, you know, and you don't get to focus on one thing. You have to focus on the school, the organization, and your own coaches as a whole, and make sure all of your information and knowledge gets transferred to your school and to your culture. And so I said, I just want to go in and try a specific guard. And
what were you playing on your black belt debut?
De La Hiva single X. That's what I was going to.
I'm competing at New Breed coming up, and I mean, well, maybe there's no one in my bracket, but I just want to play takedowns, you know, and partially because I know I won't be able to. I don't want to sentence myself to that, but I can feel it already. Like
we takedowns.
We could cover takedowns. It's rough, bro. Because we take Wednesday at Westline here is takedowns. I coach it and then immediately run it right back around to do takedowns on Thursdays. So I'm like, I'm training 4 days and 2 of which are wrestling. And so like it's, and I know like I'm going to square up against some jiu-jitsu dude and like I'm going to slap him, go for it. Like I want to get takedown and he's going to grab a wrist and sit so it will all be for naught. You know, I just want to, I don't want to play. Maybe I should, you know, maybe I would do a lot better if I just commit to guard, but I'm stubborn like that.
I mean, you've done that for so many years, and you know, it's just about everybody's different strategy. But so, getting back to your question, which was like, how has my strategy changed?
Are you more playful and competitive? Yeah. Well, how's your mindset changed about competition versus when you're younger to now? And it's not. It sounds like you're more versus you were like, no. Would do what it takes to win, play your A game, and now you're experimenting a little bit more.
The last one I did, and you know, I was talking with the coaches about preparing kids for competition, and I think a lot of people like to get their heart rate up before competition, and like to like do, you know, jumping jacks, exercise, or sprinting up and down.
I like to get a good sweat.
You like that?
I just like to get a good sweat. I don't want to walk in cold, feeling cold.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So like my thought process, this has not changed.
Yeah.
If you train an amount that gives you so much confidence in just a few positions and you get out there in a tournament, you're essentially going to put yourself into somewhere or some position that you've done so many times that even if you close your eyes, your body's going to react how you've been training.
Yeah.
And I adapted that early on to the, like, you know, call it drilling or muscle memory. And, and I for that reason, I don't like to warm up. I just like I could.
That's incredible to me. Like that's and you've got a good. I mean, I don't know your stats, but I just know coming up, we'd go compete together. You'd come back with gold. I will have lost first or second round. And I'm just like, man. I think one time I even messaged you. I was like, Mo, like, it was along the lines of like, how do you win so much or something? And you're like, and your answer was, so, obvious. You're like, well, dude, I've been training 4 or 5 days a week, and you're in here too,
Yeah.
and I was like, well, okay, valid, but it's crazy that you'll go in. I I can't imagine just like walking in and not doing any warm up. That one in that freaking boxing ring, dude. I was warming up for 90 minutes, like that in that wherever the hell, like that back room, upstairs loft, no C of O, building that we had. I was warming up for 90 minutes just because I wanted to get the flow in. I can't imagine, and that's been your process from day one, isn't it?
From day one.
That's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, I really like to relax, and I like to control my breathing, and that I feel like that puts me in a peaceful state, because I learned a long time ago, when you're going to compete against somebody, it doesn't matter who's at the other end.
Yeah.
It does not matter if he's like a loudmouth, a good guy, a bad guy. It makes no difference. You're going in to showcase skills that you have. So it doesn't matter who, what, when, or where. Now the burden is on you to say, okay, I'm going to put myself in this position and show that I could be successful and dictating the way the match goes, like checkers or chess. I want to control the flow of the game.
The Dion's got some insight here. Let me see if I can add it. He says, I've competed in sports since a baby, so my mind's sort of set. I honestly compete because I'm prepping my mind for self-defense situation should something happen. Society is very violent now. I've won enough majors. That doesn't excite me as much anymore. Yeah, I mean, I try to. That's kind of why I want to do takedowns. Personally, as I want, I mean, guard is still very much a thing, and as I age, to your point, like there's gonna come a point in which like takedowns, you can try and play them, but like you're gonna need a strong guard because it's just gonna be easier on the body. Like you can't grind it out with these 20, 30-year-old, college dudes, wrestling or whatever. So,
and you know what? Like, and for self-defense, I would not play any type of guard in the street self-defense.
Right.
If I were to hit the floor, I'd have one goal: get to their legs.
Yeah.
Like if I was playing
like
a bottom
guard,
guard,
wrestle up or leg entanglement.
No, if I ended up or were on the bottom in a guard position, my personal preference would be, let me like tear their kneecap, let me rip their leg off or ankle, or heel hook's probably going to be the fastest way to do it. So I would not, if I were in a street fight, I think it would be smartest to stay on top, get that takedown.
And of course, well, we got a lot of questions here. Let me get in it. So, what are some things you used to do in your 20s? I'll say, because you start when you were at 29.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we'll say 30s. What when you were in your 30s on the mats that you don't even attempt now?
As far as technique,
yeah.
It's funny because like rolling with like some of the younger guys that aren't even 30 yet.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to like invert and take my back from any and all position. And now we're talking about answering the question to somebody who is training with somebody much more advanced.
Yeah.
And assuming you're like at purple belt or higher.
Yeah.
It really hasn't changed with somebody who knows what they're doing, because if I invert too slow and I try to take the back and it's the wrong way, I know that my training partners know that I would be attempting a move that if I'm too late, it's not because I don't know what I'm doing. If it doesn't work, it's not because I don't know what I'm doing. It's because I'm just too slow.
Yeah.
So as far as the higher rank training partners,
Yeah.
I will attempt that. And if I get my back taken, then I get to like really work some back defense on somebody who's much, much better than me. And like with you, if you notice when you and I are training, I'm going to try to avoid as much as I can now to when I fail, not to fail inside of a side control position with you because I'm sick of that.
Yeah.
I'd rather fail where like now you got my back.
Yeah.
So because that's a lot of pressure on the back, side control on top.
Sure.
So I guess to answer the question in short is depending on the partners, you should never stop experimenting and exploring. And if you get hyper fixated on one thing for too long, you limit your ability to add on to that. Unless you're very specifically got a tournament coming up, and you're doing line drills like we do. So that's kind of my approach. Like it shouldn't stop really.
Yeah, I used to jump guard a lot or try to jump guard a lot. Like that, I won't. I won't even. I don't even like to pull guard now, but like I used to jump guard a lot, and it got to a point because I wasn't like great at it. Well, now you risk injury to your partner. More, it's like if they just step back, like I'm just gonna wreck my back and fall flat on the back. Like so. I want nothing to do with jumping guard or anything like that.
Look, if somebody jumps guard on you, okay, you have strong enough legs where you're not going to buckle.
Yeah,
and so do I.
Like I'm gonna drop to the ground immediately to make them regret it.
Exactly.
Like, I'm gonna unofficially slam them.
Yeah, exactly.
Unofficially.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you're jumping guard on somebody and they don't know how to carry it, their legs are going to buckle, and it's probably not a good idea. Yeah. But if you're jumping guard on somebody who is like, I don't know, purple, brown, or whatever.
A lightweight.
As soon as you jump guard, they're diving towards you. So all of the weight and the impact is going to go on your back. And that's now it's in reverse. You don't have to worry about the top person. You have to worry about the bottom person. Yeah. So, but if you believe in your guard and you know how to jump guard and you know how to keep your center of gravity close to them, you don't have to worry about that. So.
How important has strength and conditioning become as you age, and how do you balance it with mat time?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah. I was talking to Jonathan the other day about recommending some exercises for you.
Who?
Jonathan, the beard.
Oh, right. Rindo? John. Yeah. John Rindo. Yeah.
So, when you first start jiu-jitsu, you need to stop lifting weights.
Stop?
Yes. I would say like a minimum of like 2 to 3 months. You got it. Yeah. When you first start jiu-jitsu, that's going to be my recommendation. Stop lifting weights. Do not touch any weights. Start stretching. Start hydrating. And you're essentially taking a very stiff body and let's start to loosen it up a little bit and say, hey, you're now going to start to move around, get longer range of motion. After a few months in, weightlifting is critical. You have to lift weights. Weightlifting and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu go hand in hand together. Brother and sister, mother and father, however you want to look at it, like stretching goes with it also.
Yeah.
You gotta lift for jiu-jitsu, but there's a specific way, there's a specific type of lifting, because lifting creates very fast twitch muscle fibers. And if you're lifting the wrong way, you're going to bring the wrong explosive movements to a jiu-jitsu match, and it only works against you.
I'll notice when I lift, and I need to lift more. I'm training a little bit higher intensity training, and I'm lifting less, but I notice it adds just prevents injury.
Yeah.
Like I'll just notice, talking for sure about like, knees and hips, like it's like, I think of it as cushion, that whatever muscle you're putting around my neck for sure. with certainty when I'm doing like the big three deadlifts, squats, even like maybe shrugs or whatever. It just helps my neck not get tweaked as much, and
Yeah.
especially, dude, I swear I've gotten more. I've gotten my neck squeezed and more. Maybe it's just the positions I'm trying to play, but it helps prevent that. Well, for me, it kind of helps with the
Yeah.
not get injured as much.
Yeah. So with all the years of like lifting and training, I put together this weightlifting course that is specifically made for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu athletes, and it's made to simulate a specific movement in a match that translates. I'm sorry, a specific movement while you're lifting weights. If you take that same range of motion, it actually helps you in jiu-jitsu.
Sure.
But if you take bench, for example, and you're benching like this, we know that's no good.
Yeah, it's not.
We don't want to frame that way.
Not a lot of utility. Not a lot of utility
Right.
that way. For in rolling. What role do sleep, recovery, and it's a nutrition, but sleep and recovery play on staying on the mats? Let's talk about sleep.
Well, look, David, I will tell you that if I know something, I'm going to talk about it. If I've done it, I could do it, and I can show you how to do it. I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to lay out a plan for you, especially. It's not to say that I can't. It's like that's like writing a book on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and you've never actually grappled before.
Sure.
Or you're just a coach. I believe you can get to be a coach and a high-level coach just by watching, but it's different if you've done it before. Sleeping / recovery for me are two different things. They should be one, but sleeping, I can tell you, I can't speak on because I don't sleep much.
How many hours do you get each night?
I'd say like 4 to 6.
Dog.
Yeah.
Like that's 4 to 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I mean I don't even like. I'm not even like the sleep guy, and I know that's not.
Yeah,
dude, that can't be enough. Like
it's not enough.
That can't be enough. Like there was this podcast on I don't know if it was Rogan. It might have been the same dude on Huberman Labs. They were talking about sleep, like the degeneration of sleep. Because same thing. You get these guys and they're like, I wake up at this time and I go to, and I've tried the 5 hours of sleep, like the minimum threshold for it to even make sense for me to wake up for the day. I need 6 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
Any less than that? Well, what's the point? I'm going back. I'm brain dead for the day, so I might as well go back to bed and get the extra time and be actually functional versus just feeling for me. Like, but I need a little bit of sleep. Plus, I like it. So.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I've been a very bad example for it. I think that what's helped me survive on such little sleep for the last.
How long has it been like that? It's like, how old is Jabril? 21?
Yeah.
20.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
crazy.
I'd
That's
say about
crazy.
At least 10, 12 years. Now, there are days like on the weekend, I will, after I get up early to pray, I'll go back to sleep or I'll just chill out for a little bit. But I'll tell you what.
Do you nap at all then? Like if you're getting that little sleep, do you
No. I'll tell you what's helped me address that. If I was waking up
keep talking
and miserable, if I was waking up and miserable and just did not want to go to work, was not happy with where I was going, didn't like my job, didn't like what I was doing every day, it would be so much more difficult. But, you can call it motivation. You can call it I'm doing what I'm supposed to do and meant to do. Like, I'm lucky I get to I kind of look forward to going to work. Whether I anticipate having a good day, a bad day, I look forward to going to work. And if there's anything that's counterbalanced that, it's that. But I think I definitely You just have to sleep more, man. I have to sleep more, and sleep is part of recovery, and you can't effectively recover if you're not resting your body. So, how many hours you sleep?
I they got like 7 to 8.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's good.
Like I'll say, I mean, it depends on the day. You know, sometimes it's 6, but again, I used to do like the 5, 6 hours of sleep thing, man, and it wouldn't. It was. I would be the brain fog. You know, ever experienced, but like brain fog, where
Yeah,
like you're awake, you're here, but you're like it's just processing slowly, like that. That's where I'm talking about. Like get the extra, or is sometimes I'll even feel that I'll send you the Huberman Labs pod. It's a long podcast, like a 2.5 hour podcast, or actually no, it's a several series podcast on sleep. But he went into the guy. He's got like a British voice, and he talks like, you know, he's got like the school accent. He talks, but he's like super nerd on sleeping. He went into which helped me. It was liberating for me. He talked about like different people have different what's the rhythm, circadian
yeah,
rhythms, yeah. And so like your DNA, like you may be a person, you know, people are like they love to stay up till 4 a.m., you know, they're just super night owls, and so they'll sleep maybe from 5, they'll sleep till almost noon, but they won't go to bed till like 5, you know, like that's a certain type of person. And like just naturally, like where they're genetically, that's where they're inclined towards. And he's like, well, if you look at it, which I kind of take this with a grain of salt, because he starts talking about evolutionarily or whatever, like in an evolutionary, that's when I kind of
you lost me, bro.
well, yeah, well, I just, you know, so I don't believe in evolution of kinds, but there are certain evolution that like you evolve, you know, if and you're in a cold environment, you know, animals will gain fur. But he's talking about like when you're defending your city, you know, like when you're on watch defending your city, like you just you have to stay up. And so that was, and they would exchange watches, you know, or you're defending your tribe in the woods, you would exchange watches. And so he's like, some people, they're just, you know, they're bright and chipper morning people, you know, they're the annoying type where it's like 6 a.m. and they're like, hey, how you doing today? You're like, dude, don't talk to me, man. Like I
Yeah,
don't
give
like
me
I
some
yeah,
space.
like I don't want to, like I'm not happy right now, like give me, like talk to me at 10 a.m. and we can, you know, I'll be a better person. But he talks about that, and that was super liberating for me, because he talks about the importance of sleep, and if you're not gonna, and he also said, I gotta pull the takeaways. He's like, some people can get all their sleep in once. He's like, because you need to sleep right around 7 hours a day, like 7, 8 hours a day. Doesn't have to be at once though. And so he talks about like now the importance of like multiple smaller events. So like if you're gonna say sleep 6 hours, but then you take like a couple 30-minute naps throughout the day, and like very intentional naps, and even that, those I will use a lot. Like like if I'm especially doing like deep work on the computer and it's like really straining for me, like working out those freaking workflows, like I can only put about 2.5 hours in, and I'm like, I'm gonna just go rest my eyes. Go tell her, man, I'm gonna go rest my eyes. She makes fun of me, but like I'm gonna rest my eyes for a half hour and then go right back to it. That was super liberating for me, because you have all these gurus online telling you need to push, grind, whatever, and it's to your, I think it's to your detriment a little bit, you know. And historically, that's just, I don't know if that's 4 or 5 hours of sleep is where we've. I don't think that's where people slept. You know, I think David Goggins has done a good job of making everyone feel like a loser, you know, without it. So
Do,
personally, I like my sleep, and I feel good at. It's not how much you sleep; it's how productive are you during the day. Like I
yeah,
don't like if you get 5 hours of sleep and you can't do shit, and I get more done with you after my 7.5 hours of sleep. Like who's winning? Like, I'm not you person, not you person. I'm just saying someone, because you're not like, but you're not pushing your 5 hours of sleep like everyone needs to be like me. You're like, I
no,
wish I could sleep more,
yeah,
you know.
absolutely.
So,
Did,
um,
speaking of sleep and age, like getting back, did you hear what the beef that's going back and forth between Sean Strickland and David Goggins? So we're
I think it
talking
was
about a
done.
guy
I think it
in
was
his
done, right?
50s. No, no, no.
Is it
Well,
still
I
going?
just saw something on YouTube yesterday. I just have you heard about that?
Um, last I heard with it was like David Goggins was like, "Come on through," and he said, I'll do your fight camp if you do my running camp." And Sean was like, "Nah, we're good. I'm just like talking shit." Like that was the extent of Sean. He's like, you're cool, man. We're good. I'm just angry or something." Like that was a month or two ago, maybe.
Yeah.
I
So
I don't mind Sean though. I don't think he's that's how he is. You know how some people they're just playing the entertaining part and that's not
yeah.
how they I think that he's actually kind of insane like that. Like he's naturally insane.
So so Sean was calling him out to come fight.
Yeah.
And why I think that's like just completely inappropriate is because a YouTuber called Sean out. Okay.
Who?
You could look it up. A YouTuber called him out, and this YouTuber went through this some type of like
Was it Jake Paul? Was it?
no, but it was somebody like that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So YouTuber called him out. He came into Sean's gym, and it literally was like looking at the fight. It was like somebody who had no clue what they were doing inside the octagon, like zero.
He came
Yeah,
into
just turning his back.
He came into Sean's gym.
Yeah, because they were going back and forth, and Sean's like, "Come in, and then we can spar or whatever." So Sean obviously beat him up, and he beat him up pretty bad. And you can see
Who would do that? Like I
So-
don't want any beef with Sean Strickland. Like who's doing that?
somebody stupid and thought it was going to get them some views, or I don't know. But he beat the kid up like really, really bad. I'm sure he had a concussion.
Oh my gosh.
And the kid was stupid enough to even go in there.
I
But I
agree.
think Sean is dumb enough. I think Sean was like, I think he made a mistake by even having the guy come to the gym because he beat the kid up. What did you get out of it?
Yeah,
If it's about YouTube views, definitely very, very smart.
yeah.
But that goes to two things. Sean fought a kid who was like much smaller, much younger, very, very inexperienced.
Uh-huh.
And now he's going back and forth with David Goggins, who's like in his 50s. He's my age.
Yeah.
And David is saying, we're not talking about like fighting here. Like you can't fight a 53-year-old man. You can't call out somebody that age.
Yeah.
But the 50-year-old is calling you out for my training, my regimen.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So, and Sean wants to bring it back to fighting, and it's like I think that's a mistake that people make in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is understand that every like 20 to 30, 30, 40, 40, 50, 50 and above, you're having a different type of person with different like physical abilities, physical possibilities.
Yeah.
And Sean is like, being David Goggins' age is like, I know I could do some workouts you can't do. I'm
Yeah.
sure there's some workouts you could do that I can't do.
Yeah.
If you call me out to a fight, like I'll fight to defend myself, but I'll fight in the street. But like to set up a fight with somebody who's like, I'm old enough to be his father.
Yeah, yeah.
Like what comes out of that?
Yeah.
And until Sean is 50 years old, he gets called out, which he will. I'm sure he will. He's not going to understand.
Yeah, no, I can't. I mean, I can't fathom that. Like there's weight classes and age classes for a reason, and I understand those far more now than I used to, than I once did. Like just feeling, I feel bad. Like honestly, I feel bad now for going as hard against the older, higher ranks when I was younger. I just feel like I wish I had. It's one of the if I had known now, So I'm mindful of. I'm just mindful of who I roll with and what I roll with too. Like I'm because especially in the gym, you know. And
that's a lesson for any of the audience listening to keep that in mind. If you're much younger, going with somebody who's like in their 40s and just say mid 40s, keep that in mind because you're gonna be there, and don't let what they look like fool you. Don't let what the rank says fool you. Like there's just things they can't do and keep up with that. It's never going to be the same again.
And I think too, like they see. I can speak for myself, and this isn't the right mindset. like you would see the belt did something in your brain, dude. Like you'd see this color and you're like,
Yeah.
challenge accepted. And you're this 20-year-old like kid, and you're like, it has become your life goal now to sub this 40-year-old father of two who put in 60 hours that week. Like, is that like, and it's just because he's got different fabric around his waist, like crazy, right?
Different color.
Yeah,
Yeah.
different.
You know, one of the absolute toughest guys in the gym, and I'd put him up against any brown belt in the state of Michigan. Anybody. Hopefully he goes to Worlds that we have on our team. He rolls with you, and it doesn't really matter who it is. He's still essentially on pace to try to get like 20 matches a day. And he's smart enough to know that it's got to be done slow.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be done with exploratory intention, not getting into a dogfight.
Yeah.
Now, like we've tested him many, many times, and he's as tough as they come. Mentally, physically, he's tough. But as far as the jiu-jitsu portion, and I'm just educating our listeners, he rolls so much, but with such little intensity, because he could beat everybody with his intensity, and he gets to see what's going on. And if you want to get better at jiu-jitsu, you have to roll like, what can I do to get 10 rolls in today? Like, how would I have to do it?
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I see him. And he's young. He's like, I don't think he's 20.
Yeah. I think he might be 21 now, but
Okay.
but he, yeah. And
very, very smart.
I look at it as, you know,
And
think about if you were to you know, if we're like, hey, we need you to, the exploratory fashion is I think really important, and to be able to look around and just kind of zoom out and see where things are. That was something I didn't start to apply or adapt until probably almost brown belt, honestly. Like it was just like so focused on surviving and winning practice, that it's, you know, the exploratory to actually like, oh, it's okay. Like my guard got past because he did this, like lesson learned, you know? And then, so you're accumulating, we call it accumulating failure, and because a failure is data. And so you accumulate as much failure as you can and learn from it. Like if I can learn, 18 different ways, that my guard got past or whatever, and then it's 18, tools in the shed to not let it happen again. And he does it really fluid, and he doesn't lift at all, which is crazy. His pound for pound, his static strength is ant-like. He's very strong, for like $150, $160.
Yeah.
So, next question we got, while I work on getting the switcher feedback. How do you? Oh no, let's go back here. What advice would you give to someone 35 plus who's just starting jiu-jitsu? And that seems to be a lot of them, honestly. A lot of 30 plus years old.
Yeah, if you're in your 30s just starting to do jiu-jitsu, I would really limit how much actual rolling that you're doing in the first couple months.
So what would limit to what?
Like if I had to put a number on it, like I would start out with like a little bit more consolidated positional training, because you can explain a drill. You can explain you want to try to pass the guard, get to the hip line, get to mount, and submit from there. And then you're looking at it and you're talking to a 30, 35-year-old, and they're like, yeah, that makes sense. You can even show it to them on their body, and they're like, yeah, okay, clearly that makes sense. But as soon as you get into that, there's red light there.
Yeah, I got you right here now.
Okay. As soon as you get to that position, then it's all different. Now you're talking about rolling, twisting, turning, bumping and rolling, giving up space. And I think that if you're starting out jiu-jitsu at 30 to 35 years old, that's one efficient way to do it, is start with a very small window of position training and start to open it up.
Yeah.
You know, because you could be like 30, 35, you still got a lot of juice and gas left in the tank. And if you start by just doing a full match, now you're talking about getting into all areas of like a possible, like a reap, leg entanglement, like that you don't even know is happening. And that's how injuries come in. So I would just say start it out very slow and get and master the hip escape, the front roll, the belly down, the back roll, the hip outs. Master them, and you'll be able to jump into a full match so much easier.
Well, and that, so, okay, because you had me nervous when you were like, limit the sparring you do. Position, I'm a huge fan. More and more, I'm a huge fan of positional training.
Yeah.
Because it's just reps, right? Like in a match, have I shown you the J-lock that I found from side control? It's a submission from bottom side control.
Is that where you're lifting your leg over the person's back? And
that's the buggy. I don't do the buggy anymore.
Okay.
I stopped the buggy after I saw a dude like destroy his knee. No, this one is good. But to the point, I might get in that position like in a full match. I might get 1 or 2 shots at it.
Yeah.
For in a full match. Versus if side control, you know, again, to Greg Saunders, ego approach, Coach Jimmy talks. We play this game. I just got in that position 25 times in 3 minutes.
Wow.
And so it's like, oh, okay, now it becomes more familiar because now, so that if I get past whatever, it's like, to your point about muscle memory and training, you're saying, hey, I've been here before. Versus if you're only there once or twice, you're like, I think I've been here before, but I have no idea what to do. It's like 25, 30, 40, you play positional.
Yeah.
Or even those line drills we do for anywhere from 8 to 25 minutes, and that's a lot of time spent in a specific guard or a specific position, and so it just creates more familiarity. And to your point, I think it sticks a little bit. The retention's a little bit stronger.
Yeah, something else I would do if you're just starting out. I think that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu instructors are today. There's so much information on the internet.
Oh, dude.
And I don't think you can get away from, I think you can't avoid doing something really, really stupid or that puts your students at risk, because the students are out there researching, how do I get better at jiu-jitsu? What do I need to do to get better at jiu-jitsu? So like for all new students and new people starting out, I would say, treat yourself like a coder who's building a phone. Listen to your instructor. Do exactly what they want to say. Exactly. So, like, you're teaching a submission on the bottom.
Well, I'm not. Okay, like it's when I'm trying out, because I personally I don't like to teach anything that I haven't like hit.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm exploring with it. It's doing all right. It's on its way. It's on its way.
So there's a lot of techniques and movements that you can teach, like as a last ditch effort, or something like that. I don't know if that falls into the category.
This would not fall into the fundamentals class by any definition.
Right.
By any stretch of the definition.
Right. Yeah. So that's the benefit of us having multiple black belts on the mat. We have different personalities. We have different answers to the same question.
Yeah.
So I personally am not going to try something like that.
Yeah. You could hit this. You could.
I could.
It's not bad. It's not bad at all. At all.
So I personally would say, okay, fight to the death. Fight to the death. And this is one of the exercises that I work and I teach, like in my fitness program. Don't let the head get wrapped.
Yeah.
If I'm going to put all of my energy there, do not let that happen. And then I even have another strategy, like you've probably seen it. If you do get my head wrap, I'm like, well, I don't like this position, so I'm going to let you get mount and try to escape off the mount transition instead of anything else. But if your instructor is teaching that, or if your instructor is saying, hey, on the bottom position, if you're flexible, you have a little bit of movement, this is your next go-to. You got to follow the instructor. They have years of experience and thousands and probably millions of minutes of experience fighting. and you have to follow the instructor. Like that would be the biggest piece of advice I'd give for 30 to 30, 35. Listen to your instructor verbatim.
Let's see. So 35. If today was my first day of jiu-jitsu, I don't know. I would say just create a roadmap. Like I think, create a roadmap of get one takedown that you like that fits your body's type. Decide which top position you want to be on, whether top mount or side control, maybe back mount, and find a favorite submission, and then funnel every other part of the match to there.
Yeah,
like just funnel, like so.
Absolutely.
Just don't get it like it. Let's say like the Americano. Just find a way to make your Americano unstoppable. Everything else leads to there. That'd go pretty far. Just that alone versus trying to learn 10 to 12 different submissions. That's tricky, man. That's tough to do.
Yeah, and if you do it right, now this is again for our own students and anybody watching. If you're doing the Americana, if you're doing the takedown,
I don't have a lot of success in the Americana, but yeah.
So if you're doing it again and again and it's working, and your instructor comes up to you and says, "Don't do that anymore," if he's not explaining to you, that's a compliment saying you're so good at that. I want you to use that to transition to another position.
Yeah, we've learned this lesson. Let's add to it.
Yeah.
Let's build on it.
Yeah, use that to get to where you want to go, but don't do that again.
How do you what does success in the mat look like to you now versus when you started?
At 50.
Yeah, whatever. Now versus when you started.
I would say like almost 20 years of 20 years of like training. This is probably the hardest. And I thought, because the physical challenge in jiu-jitsu is the absolute best. Like, I just love the physical challenge. It's like, as a man, you're in a fight, a dog fight, and you eventually realize it's a fight with your own physical self, like what you can and can't do. And like physically, that's, for a man, that's just the best place to be. But that's not where my challenge is. My challenge today is taking all of the jiu-jitsu, the physical training, and clearly putting it down on like a buffet. Oh, that's salmon with crackers. Oh, that's a dip here. Oh, these are little mini chicken bites. Oh, these are like crackers with cheese. Very clearly displaying them for everybody else to know exactly what they're doing after using it a couple times. So I would say that's my biggest challenge as a coach. And obviously physically, you just can't train the way you want to as much as you do.
Yeah.
But with the right training partners, it becomes easier, because they start to, for the guys who are like in their 50s that want to start jiu-jitsu or starting jiu-jitsu, as long as you follow an initial roadmap, there's so many people that understand where you're at, and they'll make your job easier to train. And, I'm lucky I have a lot of really good people. So I'm still trying to take my head off, David.
I believe it.
Yeah, it's like
I would say, right, success in the mat. Not like, I think, jiu-jitsu is physically difficult, but it's very mentally difficult, especially, again, I hate to go back to wrestling. It's trying, it's becoming it's like almost like trying clothes on, There are some outfits that people get away with. Like, I could never pull off a certain wardrobe. That some people, like, they crush it. And so it's finding what moves can I do that feel, they don't compromise. They don't put me in an unathletic position to where I'm going to get injured.
Yeah.
And can I do this? Can I do this with a high successor? Because that's, for me, man, like, I need to be, what I like about Alvarez or Bruno, any of the guys, like when they come in for seminars, like I've never seen Alvarez teach a triangle he certainly knows it. Like I can promise you he does, but like his really forte, his game is, you know, his half guard and his open, kind of his open and that whole arm lock series.
Yeah.
And he knows, he literally like kind of in his sort of joking tongue in cheek manner challenges the room. It was like, what else? Throw another situation at me. What could they possibly do? Because he knows that position so well. He has experienced and encountered every encounter to it, like every counter to that move. So he has an unstoppable, like, or seemingly unstoppable to every scenario that you throw at it. So that's the depth versus breadth. That's a depth of knowledge of where he's good at. And he'll, what's neat. See, this is what's really neat is because every time we bring him in for a seminar, he shows the same thing, but like he'll you can see his students are getting frustrated. He's like, yeah, I got this one guy. Here's what he started doing now to try and, so he's, because they all know Danny's game. And so as they kind of start to like figure out the ways around it or holes in it, like he fills that before it gets too big. He plugs that hole and kind of shuts it down because he's just building on that same game. You know, it would be like, you know, imagine one day if like, who's your favorite music artist?
Or Spotify.
Or just whatever. Okay, yeah. So
Spotify.
Imagine like, you know, like I mean, it depends on what I'm in the mood for, but like, let's just say like one day Eminem decided to give a go at like doing emo music. You're like, no, Eminem needs to kind of stay in his lane. I mean, he could probably get away with it, but like, I don't know. Let's take Nickelback. Nickelback is known for a very specific type of music, and let's just say they wanted to try their hand at country. Like, it's not.
Yeah.
You know, like just build off of what you already really do well. And so to me, it's that I'm just really trying to build on my existing game.
Yeah.
I don't really usually, I'm doing it now and I don't like it. Like I'm trying to work over under series with takedowns and it is going horrendous. Like it's going very bad. Like I can't even take white belts down, like off of this over. It's just going, and it's not coming easy. It's not coming natural because I'm not listening to. You know, I said find something and add it to your game.
Yeah,
this is completely new. It's not off of my Russian. It's not off of the like. It's all new, and so I'm bad at all of it.
Yeah,
but I see a lot of guys playing it. So.
You know, like as a coach. Like right now, I'm always falling back to like coaching. And if I'm coaching a legitimate competitor who wants to compete and who wants you to treat them as a competitor and is willing to do whatever it takes, then like teaching them very specific positions like Alvarez does again and again and again and again is probably what I would do. But and the competitor needs to like 3 days a week is just not going to cut it. You know, it's not going to cut it. Like I think everybody should compete, should jump in and really try out a tournament. But if you just want to feel like you want to show the absolute best version of yourself, you got to get on the mat like 5 days a week.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be 5 days of hard training, but you need frequency. And because we don't have any professional athletes right now on our roster, then my approach to like jiu-jitsu is more about becoming more of an encyclopedia and giving that big buffet of there's like so many different positions and areas. And, you know, if you're not a competitor, you know, and and understand that, then you do want a little bit of variety. And I think that, you know, like getting back to your question is I'm trying to meet the needs of my students right now with variety and information and just be able to like have that at their disposal, you know, through my head and through our like, you know, training courses.
Do you think there will come a time? You think there will come a time when you can't train anymore?
No, because I won't answer the question physically. I'll answer the question, can I think about jiu-jitsu can I explain jujitsu to you?
Mm,
As long as I have the mind to continue to express, interpret, digest, and deliver jujitsu through my
mm,
head. No. Do I think the time will come where, uh, like physically, I just can't do the multiple
the
days?
rolling.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's already here.
Yeah. I think there is, if everyone, if we're being honest with ourselves, there are people, how late did Helio train into? Like he trained into his 80s, right?
Yeah.
But that, we don't have footage, but I can imagine what that looked like. Just look very slow. It would just look very slow,
Yeah.
and it would be like, so. I mean, that can even be a little bit. So in our head, we're like, well, I'm gonna train till the day I die. I mean, I think one thing I'm coming to grips with is, dude, you just gotta like, life will throw things at you, and who knows? On my way home, if I get in a car accident, I got no legs. I'm like Lieutenant Dan. Like what? Like my training is gonna look totally different now. I think it's Ruben. Like
Mhm.
yeah, Ruben. He literally had to learn how to train all over again with just one leg. And so tomorrow's not promised. Take it a day at a time. You can say like I don't want to. I don't want to ever have to stop training. But yeah,
It's
take it
inevitable.
as it comes.
It's inevitable for
Yeah,
everybody,
for
but
being honest with ourselves, right?
yeah,
Yeah, you know what I mean.
yeah. But like, what is the goal? What is your objective? And that's why the younger you are, the more clearly you could be on what you want to accomplish at this phase of your jujitsu.
Yeah,
And the more you practice doing that, the more success you're going to have, and the more clarity it'll give you as you get older and older and older. And I'm talking about, kids who are like 7, 8, 9, 10. Like at that
yeah,
age, they
yeah,
have to
yeah,
learn how to set a goal. And teenagers, for us, it's about managing like ego with teenage kids,
yeah, yeah,
more than
yeah.
anything else.
Sure.
And then, then they get into their 20s and like 30s and 40s. And so every stage has different phases. But you're right. You have to be honest with yourself and practice preparing for that next phase. So when you get there, you're not like one of those people who basically keeps going until they get knocked out or
Yeah,
injured doing something that they shouldn't have been doing many, many years ago. Training partners
yeah.
are important. Weightlifting is important. Um, and I actually just put, some of that stuff into our curriculum that I want to try to work in for everybody, because jujitsu is not enough. Like you have to weightlift, you have to stretch, you have to do the other things. So, and when someone thinks Brazilian jiu-jitsu, oh, you do jiu-jitsu, man, you must be in amazing shape.
Yeah, yeah. If they don't, yeah,
Dude, you must be in crazy shape. And how about the person they look at that like, you do jiu-jitsu? Really?
yeah.
You don't look like it.
Yeah, you might be surprised how little I talk about jujitsu now. Like, I wear a lot of the shirts, and if they ask, like, I, you know what? It will, and this is what we were talking about, but the whole like, yeah, I do jujitsu, and they're like, oh, inevitably, it's always, what do they always say after you're like, yeah, how long you been doing it? 20 years. Like, what do they always say? Like almost always, they always follow it up with what? Some form of, I've always wanted to do that. Oh yeah, what are your what are your classes? Where are you at? Like, why? So I can give you all the information and you can do nothing with it. This has been on Google. I don't know. Like I think I just, if you say you want to do something, you'll do it. And so like to me, I'd rather like play dumb and just, I don't know. I don't even like the conversations anymore, because if my Coach David voice comes out, I look like an asshole. Because we just have very different coaching methods, and I don't want to look like an asshole. So a lot of times it's just like, oh yeah, I do jiu-jitsu. Yeah, where you at? Yeah, we're in Southgate. Yeah, come check us out. Like if you whatever. Like I'm not, like if you go home and look at jiu-jitsu, you'll find us, and then the marketing will do the deal. But I don't try to that at all. Do you still have those conversations?
I mean,
You still keep them up?
I was at a mosque at a lecture, and this was 1 or 2 weeks ago. Every time I go there, I run into this one kid, really nice kid. I think he's about mid-20 right now,
Okay.
or Jabril's age. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna come try.
Dude, I would
So this is the first time I've done it, and I said, you know what? I'm sick of hearing you say that. They say you're gonna come. I'm like, you obviously know there's something good that can come out of it. I don't want to hear that anymore. You just need to come in and
stop talking to me about it, or stop telling me
I
you're gonna
didn't say
come.
that.
Right?
I didn't say that. I just said I'm sick of hearing you say you're gonna come and you don't. That's a David Fox.
Yeah, I would just.
It's fair to say, like, don't, like, you look like a liar.
Yeah, to me, like, you're lying. You are. I mean, you're lying to yourself.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come. Like, who's believing it? Like, I'm not believing. I certainly don't believe you. Do you
Yeah.
believe you?
No.
Like you're gonna come when? Someday, right? Think of it as. That's a ridiculous comparison. I was gonna be like, think of it as like, someone courts your daughter and they're like, well, I'm gonna marry her. Yeah, when? Okay, well, when you actually have a date, like, then you can pursue her a little bit more, seriously, or but this lack of intention, it just bothers me, man. So it was off topic. That was my get off my lawn old rant of it, but I don't want to talk about it anymore. I mean, they see the jiu-jitsu t-shirts and things that I wear, and that's enough, I guess, for me. All right, so that's a lot about aging in jiu-jitsu, and so we have we covered a lot. We've got some people stuck with it with the episode. I'm glad I can't believe we got Facebook working again, dude. They always like change the rules of what apps they allow, and so now we get more viewers. But as always, guys, a couple of what housekeeping items do we got? What's coming up? We got IBJJF Detroit.
Lansing is tomorrow.
June 21st. New Breed and Lansing is tomorrow. Yep, New Breed and Lansing is tomorrow. We have at our Southgate headquarters, we are hosting the Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University. First week was last week. You can still get in on it. You want to know something crazy? This was incredible. So Amanda and I took it 10, 12 years ago, and they were DVDs at the time. They were like 90 minutes long. And now it's all web-based, right? And they are... Want to guess how much they cut it down to? Guess how long so they went from a 90-minute kind of like module, I guess, as they'd be called to today.
Can't be less than 30.
9 minutes. It was like Dave Duncan was hosting, and like he pulls it up week one. It's like Ramsey's daughter on there. She does like it was like a reel, dude. And she's like, all right, that's your homework, go do it. And he and I are looking at each other like, what? And it was just 9 minutes. I was like, wow. So they've adapted the curriculum to go from a 90-minute. They're like, oh, adults can't pay attention this long. And so
it's pretty sad.
It's fucking crazy. Like, but so that's open to the public. Obviously, if you guys want in, I think it's like $90 for the 8 weeks. And you'll save that money the week one when you do your budget. And then IBJJF Detroit summer camp starts at our Canton spot, which is the building that we're in. And that is June 16th. It starts June 16th in Southgate, and it starts June 9th at our Livonia campus. So we have, you're going to be getting these flyers probably. There's $100. Which way do I want to turn this to? It's $100 off if you get this flyer. Also mention and a free jiu-jitsu uniform as well. And I can say with certainty, Livonia will fill up the fastest. I think they're approaching capacity probably this week or next week. That's just our largest campus there. Southgate is right behind it rapidly. And then Canton, we got a little space for it. It's our second year. So we got some space for it. But this is, that's always a blast because it's all inclusive. Field trips are included, bounce house days. You got water days in Livonia. So that's really cool for kids K through 6. I would like to look into, I know you and I spoke briefly this year. You've been taking a lot of calls about looking for teens, right? Like parents who want. Dude, we should maybe do like next year, do like just a 1 week teen camp. What could we get firearms involved? Would that be like a thing? Could we like I would love to do like paintball and then like a shooting range and then like the some type of high ropes. Like teens, you got to keep them active, right? I don't know if you could. I don't know how many teens. What do you think? How many teens do you think have fired a firearm in their life?
I did not.
There's a picture of me shooting a Tommy gun when I was 8 years old.
You're a
we're redneck.
Caucasian.
We're kind of redneck. Yeah.
Grew up in Monroe.
Yeah. But
away from
that would be.
You couldn't see your neighbor for miles, maybe.
Yeah. Well, there was. Well, so we did have 2 neighbors on each side of us, like several hundred feet away. But then it was miles.
I really like that idea of like, because the teens need it, and at that age, like going back to what we were talking about, they need mentorship more than any other age. Man. Yeah, more than any other age.
And unfortunately, like for a lot of them, they will place more merit and weight in a coaching mentor advice, even if it's the same advice the parent gives, than they will, the parent itself. So, but maybe next year, dude. That, we should look into it next year and maybe just try to do a trial week, because those are, that would be something. All right, you guys. You know where to find us by now. If you're interested in jiu-jitsu and you're actually gonna do something about it, link, forum, website, call, text, whatever, comment and be like, "Yo, I'm in," and we'll reach out. As always, we will see you guys on the mats.